Hello everyone, welcome to my first ref. I'm Raz and welcome to Razbox. And what do you think this image represents? Well, that is a Rorschach test. This is a psychological test that bases itself on what a subject's perception of an image is. And then it's analyzed with complex algorithms and mostly psychological interpretation. And it's used to examine a person's personality and emotional function, which was used to detect thought disorder. However, this is an experiment that is not completely true and is based on belief, so in most cases it will fail and it isn't reliable, and it's mostly BS. Welcome to RIF, Random Interesting Facts. David Hahn, otherwise known as the radioactive Boy Scout, he is known for building a nuclear reactor in his mother's backyard. He first thought of doing this when he was reading the Golden Book of Chemistry Experiments and decided to build a breeder reactor. He made a subcritical reactor until it became so dangerous, so he tried to bury the reactor until he was detained by the police and the reactor was found, and so federal authorities were contacted and his lab was dismantled. Sword swallowing is a skill in which someone passes a sword through the mouth and stomach, and many people have died by doing this. The way it works is by leaning the head back and then relaxing the esophagus, and after passing it, it will reach the stomach. And there have been 29 deaths reported, so please don't do this. Robert Leeson was the fastest surgeon at one point in history, but not the one you should probably put your trust in if you ever operated you. Since Leeson may have been the fastest surgeon, he was one of the most deadly. Some of the incidents he has done is the removal of an limb in 28 seconds, in which he accidentally cut off his assistant's fingers, causing the patient and assistant to die of an infection, and a witness of shark, killing 3 people in just one operation of 28 seconds. Allen-Hand syndrome is a condition in which a person's limb acts seemingly by their own, without any conscious control, and it occurs mostly when both the hemispheres of the brain are surgically separate. It isn't curable, but the symptoms can be reduced by keeping the alien hand occupied. Body snatchers were people who stole corpses to sell them to medical stores for anatomy or dissections. It was the most common for it to happen in the 19th century, and it occurred in the United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Canada, China, Spain, and etc. The QWERTY keyboard was originated in 1878 with the origin of the typewriter. It was invented by Christopher Scholz, and it was made in the layout to slow down people from damaging the typewriter from the physical limitations of the technology at the time. And a few other layouts were created, like Dvorak, but QWERTY is still the most common layout to this day. The Bedford level experiment was an experiment carried out by Samuel Robotham, claiming he had found the earth was flat since he could still see the end of the river, which extended 6 miles. However, he didn't account for something, which is the atmospheric refraction, which is when the light deviates when it passes through the atmosphere due to the variation in air density. So when Alfred Wallace accounted for this, he found a consistent curvature with a spherical Earth. So to all of you morons who still think the Earth is flat, please stop. Joseph Merrick was an Englishman who had several deformities and defied all medical knowledge. He started experiencing the deformities from age 5. He then met a showman named Sam Thor when he was 17 years old, and he proposed that he should exhibit himself. And he was nicknamed the Elephant Man. He was robbed and abandoned by his road manager and died in 1890 at 27 years old, and the cause for his deformities is unclear. No one knew how eels reproduce, and even Aristotles didn't know how. His thought was that they didn't reproduce, and that instead they existed when rainwater and mud were combined. This wasn't disproven until Hubert Delage found that eels have different stages of life, on which they go through different forms, and when they are at the last stage, they reproduce. Thanks for watching, special thanks to Camilo for his music. Tenga una buena noche, and see ya in the next one.